Let me introduce you to our Mercy's 2016 Faces of Courage.
We never know how strong we are until being strong is the only choice we have. My name is Sandy Andreini, and I have stage 4 breast cancer. I've always considered myself happy, healthy, and very blessed. I take care of my family and myself. I have been married for 28 years, and I have 4 beautiful daughters. I feel very fortunate to live in this close community where most people know each other. My children are happy and safe. I would say that I have a very good and blessed life. I have always felt I was in control of my life. I believed I was a good wife and a good mom. I planned everything, and it usually went well. So I believed I was in control. It felt safe to be in control. I believe that that made me feel like I was strong. I was not strong, however, if I were to be ill. I didn't like it if I didn't feel well, and I didn't go to the doctors very often because I took care of myself. I didn't need to go other than routine physicals. I didn't ever think of the possibility of ever being terminally ill. In March of 2013, I had my annual mammogram, and it was normal. In June of 2013, my right breast began to swell. I initially attributed it to hormones since my mammogram had been normal. On June 2nd, July 2nd, 2013, I visited Dr. Renardi and my testing began. One day can make a difference for the rest of your life. My day was July 18th, 2013. I was informed that my biopsy showed poorly differentiated ductal carcinoma, extensive metastasis to the lymph nodes, grade 3 of 3. My cancer is HER2 positive, one of the most aggressive types of breast cancers there is. I was then informed that my PET scan confirmed metastasis to my bones. That day, I wasn't just Sandra Andreini. I was Sandra Andreini, stage 4 breast cancer. I will remember that day forever. There is no way to describe what I was feeling. Panic, loss of control, helpless, afraid. I began to question, was there a mistake? Is this really true? How am I going to tell my daughters, my family, and my friends? Will I get to see my girls graduate? Will I get to see my girls get married? Will I grow old with my husband? Will my daughters have to watch me die? I'm their mom. I'm supposed to be able to protect them. How do I do this? I was so afraid. I'm a registered nurse, and I would normally be the one who was taking care of or holding the hands of the patients who were fighting an illness or cancer. Now I'm the one who many times during my illness will need to have those holding my hand, including all of you here tonight. The morning of my diagnosis, I met with Dr. Renardi. and we talked. He has always been here for me. I trust him. I needed to feel safe. I needed someone to help me. I remember I asked him, "Do you feel that I can do this?" And he said, "Yes, I do believe you can." Those words and his confidence in me meant so much to me. Dr. Andreini has been here for me my entire journey. That afternoon, I was scheduled for an appointment with Dr. Greminger, a doctor that I have never met, a doctor that I'd never imagined I would ever need to see. I knew that she was good, but I never imagined that I would be seeing her as a patient. A doctor I had no relationship with. I was basically needing her to attempt to save my life. I was going to have 100% faith in her and 100% confidence in her decisions. Her staff and her nursing staff were so good to me, and they continue to be good to me. We met, she explained everything to me, as well as her plans for my treatment. She continued to be here for me and works closely with all my physicians at Mercy Medical Center, Dr. Weber, Dr. Foley, Dr. Jansen, and Dr. Davis, that have all worked so hard to keep me strong and alive. My chemo nurses that I see every 3 weeks have become my friends and part of my family. That afternoon, I knew that I wanted to live. I knew I had to somehow gain the strength to begin a battle to fight for my life. A journey that God has planned for me. A journey that would require more than me. I had to release myself to God. I had to trust and allow Him to guide me. It was then that I realized that I was not the one in control. I called my church, St. Raphael, and I spoke with Father Doug. We met and we talked. Father Doug had my family come in and we prayed, and I received the sacrament of the sick. Sister Marguerite came to see me at my house. We were very close. We talked, we prayed, and I cried. She spoke to a new priest at our church, Father Michael Warden. He had recently lost his mother to cancer. I attended one of his masses. We met and we talked. He asked me if I was angry with God. I'm not, and I never have been. I believe Father Michael was God's plan. He came into my life and he was there for my journey. He came to my chemos, my surgeries, and he and Father Doug have continued to be here for me. Sister Marguerite passed away shortly after my journey began. I'm stage 4. There is no stage 5. That day, I had to make a decision to fight for my life. I wanted to live, and so I had no choice but to be strong. Strong was my only choice. A wise friend once told me, living with stage 4 cancer, there are not a lot of comfort stops along the way. I've endured chemotherapy, loss of my hair, bilateral mastectomy, reconstruction, implants, and radiation. And I have remained strong with the support of my doctors, nurses, physical therapist, trainer, chiropractor, dentist, friends, family, and all of you, and God. Friends and people from all over the world or all over town, have sent me thoughtful gifts, food for my family, desserts, messages, inspirational messages, blankets, shirts, crosses, flowers, necklaces, bracelets, cards, hats, scarves, and visits, and just being by my side. A friend came over every morning to make me an egg. A friend drove in from her vacation to help me and give me strength after reading my caring bridge. One day, I received a phone call from a nurse from one of my doctor's clinics. She told me that 13 years ago, my husband diagnosed her husband with colon cancer. He was given 3 months to live. She told me that she had brought her husband to Lourdes, France, in hopes for a miracle. Unfortunately, her husband passed away shortly after their trip. She brought back a bottle of holy water and has had it this entire time and wanted to give it to me. She had the bottle for over 13 years. I took the bottle, the holy water, to Father Michael. I asked him, "What do I do with this? Do I drink it all?" Father said to me, "Holy water is not magic. It's a miracle." He suggested that I put a drop of water on my head, on my forehead, where I was baptized and confirmed, and that I pray. After my 4th round of chemo, I became weaker, and I was experiencing more side effects. I asked Dr. Greminger, "How long do I have to do this? When can I go on maintenance?" I really didn't actually know what maintenance meant, but I had read that people go on maintenance. Dr. Greminger tried to explain to me that I was to continue on this until we know how my cancer was responding to treatment. I completely lost it. How could I possibly do this any longer? My PET scan was scheduled for the next week, and the hope was that the chemo was keeping me stable and that I had not spread any further. My prayer was different. I didn't pray for stable. I prayed for clear. I was home alone the day before my scan, and I started to cry. It was at that moment that I spoke to God. I could honestly feel his presence. I asked God to help me. I told him, "I know that you want me to be strong, and I am trying so hard. I'm sorry, but I can't take it any longer." I asked him to help me and clear my bones of the cancer. It was at that moment that I got that bottle of holy water, and I put a drop on my head, and a drop on my forehead, and I put a drop in my mouth. And I prayed for my PET scan to be clear. I went to my church, and I met with Father Michael. We prayed for my PET scan to be clear. I put a prayer request on Caring Bridge. I currently have over 24,000 messages to me. I went to the PET scan the next day. My PET scan showed no evidence of cancer in my bones, no further metastasis. There is absolutely no other words to explain this other than a miracle. I truly believe this. My doctor's plans with me changed. I was able to plan for maintenance chemo, which is also referred to as targeted therapy because it targets my HER2 cells, have a bilateral mastectomy, and start radiation. The friend that gave me the holy water told me maybe she wasn't sent to Lourdes, France to save her husband. Maybe she was sent there to save me. My 85-year-old mother-in-law stayed by my side throughout my entire journey. She took care of me. She took care of my family. She cleaned, she cooked, and she rubbed my legs while I cried with bone pain. She told me that she would be with me as long as I needed her. At the end of my initial treatment, chemo, surgeries, and radiation, I was required to have another PET scan to make sure that the maintenance was keeping the cancer out of my bones. The night before my scan, my mother-in-law passed away. The next morning, my PET scan was clear. No further metastasis, and all my PET scans have remained clear. My mother-in-law knew that I no longer needed her and that I was going to be okay. I feel this was another sign from God. I am here today to let all of you know how grateful I am to be able to stand here before all of you and tell you my story. I've received over 2 years of chemotherapy, and my friends and family have been by my side for every chemo. They take time out of their day to sit with me for almost 4 hours. Over 20 years ago, I worked at the University of Minnesota in the bone marrow transplant unit. It was different years ago. Nurses cared for one patient, and that patient was your primary patient. As a primary nurse, you were with that patient their entire journey. Chemotherapy, radiation, counseling, help support the patient, you help support the family, bathing, all their cares. At times, 3 months or more, basically you became their friend and part of their family. If the bone marrow took, you would get to see them go home. Many times, you would be the one to make them comfortable as they passed away. I can look back and honestly say I was the best nurse that I could be for all of my patients. I was compassionate, caring, and I stayed by their side their entire journey. I remember the first time that I took a patient to radiation. I brought her down in her wheelchair. She was just 18 years old. I had to drop her off at a door that led to the room to radiation. I was able to watch her from a viewing window. I watched the nurse walk her to the table. She sat on the table in a room by herself, in a room all alone, full of radiation. I cried as I watched her. She was helpless. She was 18 years old and all alone, and all I could do as her nurse is watch her. She was so strong. I remember thinking I could never be that strong. On March 19th, 2014, my 29 radiation treatments with Dr. Davis and his nurses began. My radiation experience was different. My radiation nurses walked me in. I started to cry, and so they hugged me and they talked to me. We walked to that table. There were stars on the ceiling and music playing. They helped me up on that table, and they covered me with a warm blanket. Just before they would leave, they would touch me. That one touch let me know that they cared about me. That one last touch meant so much to me. There was a monitor in the room, and on the screen were my setup notes. The top line read, WINGBRD. I have no idea what all those letters and numbers meant. One of Dr. Davis's nurses messaged me on my caring bridge and said, I take WINGBRD in your setup notes to mean winged bird. because that's exactly what you are. Your journey has given you flight. Thank you, Chris. My favorite song is Stand By You and Fight Song by Rachel Platten. In the song, she sings the words, "If your wings are broken, borrow mine till yours can open too." I want to thank everyone here for allowing me to borrow your wings. Now mine are open too. There's a very special person that I want to mention, and her name is Donna Rogers, my nurse navigator. Donna is like having your own personal shopper or your own bodyguard. But an even better description of Donna is the lunch lady. Everyone here knows when you were in elementary school and the lunch lady was always there for you. She tied your shoes, helped you open your milk, gave you a Kleenex for your nose, helped you get up if you slipped in the lunchroom, and was there to help you if you didn't feel well. Basically found an answer for everything. Donna is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, that's probably not entirely true, but she is so good at her job and so good to her patients that at least that's what she makes us think. She is here for us, and we can talk to her about anything. She will work till she gets an answer, help, or a solution. I know she has many cancer patients that she navigates, but I consider Donna mine. Until there's a cure, I will require targeted therapy for the rest of my life. Without prayers and the support I receive, I would not be able to do this. My message to all of you is you never know what someone else is going through. We live in this very supportive community, and we were all so fortunate for that. Take this moment and be thankful for your family, your friends, and your health. You only get one chance in life. Stand by each other's side. Tell someone how much you appreciate them. And if someone is having a difficult time, go to their side. Give them a hug or a touch. Cancer affects everyone around you. Everyone here knows someone that has dealt with cancer or is currently dealing with cancer. A friend of mine named Andrea, who recently passed away of brain mets, said, "You have to take a sucky situation and make something good of it." So let's do that. I want to thank you for coming here tonight to support me and support the building of the Oasis. Losing your hair can be very emotional. There is no way to prepare someone for that. Hair is the first thing that we see on a person. In a way, it identifies you, maybe as much or more than your voice. Everyone here knows what it's like to have a bad hair day. What about a no hair day? A very important part of fighting cancer or any other illness is feeling good about yourself and a positive attitude so you can move forward in your journey. Our hope is that providing this environment will allow and facilitate this. The Oasis is going to be here to help support and guide those who are going to lose their hair or who have already lost their hair. The Oasis will provide a place of comfort and guidance so patients can embrace their hair loss or baldness in whatever way meets their comfort level and their emotional needs. We will provide wigs, hats, and scarves available on hand to help and also help with ordering to meet everyone's needs. I will be volunteering my time in the boutique because I want to be a part of helping others. I want to allow others to borrow my wings. I made the choice to fight. You all made the choice to stand by me. My family and friends started calling me Sandy Strong. I am alive. I am blessed. I will continue this journey that God has planned for me. I have chosen strong. So now I am, and forever will continue to be, Sandy Strong. Thank you.